Hello and welcome back to a new series. This is Kristin from Life of Crafting. And I've been kind of toying back and forth with different paper packs, some different things. My mind has just been racing, and I decided that this was going to be my next project. This is a paper pack, and there's probably an assortment, so I'll mention which collection. This is a brand called Graphic 45, and my one friend Pat had kind of introduced me to them. We were going to like one of them all day like buying expos, and they sell 8x8 packs, and she loves to make, she does scrapbooking, she does 8x8 albums, and they have a lot of paper packs in that size, and it's a very not easy to find size that, you know, is made to that, and their scale is made to that, and this is a brand that does that. And I used to see her stuff and I'd be like, oh, like that paper is so pretty, and there's just so much detail, a lot of colors in there. So I started finding paper here and there when I would go, and I would just pick it up, not understanding how this brand operates. And I would start buying and thinking that, you know, like I was buying this that was part of this collection, not knowing that it, you know, I didn't understand about the zip strips and all that stuff at the time. So I wound up with various papers, lots of different, so I'll get into it. This Graphic 45 paper pack is from their Twas the Night Before Christmas collection. I had bought this because of the border strips and thought, you know, like that would be a cute accent for these other papers. And some of their, like this green, I will tell you, it's a very limey green, but it wasn't the easiest at the time, and I'm going back 4 or 5 years, that I understood like how to mix and match things. So I really had liked this, and I wanted to work with the border shift. So we're gonna go through this, and I'm gonna just do different sketches and just blow these out. I have three of these, okay? Then I wound up with these because I thought this was really interesting with all the like post-it note stuff on it, but this is from their St. Nicholas collection. Again, I wasn't understanding that, you know, I just saw these graphics and thought like, oh, they look great. And I have a feeling I can mix and match them in. I do plan on it. I think some of these being like cut aparts are going to be really cute to add. Now the back of this is this, you have to look, it's like a polka dot and snowflake kind of mixed in. So it's a tone-on-tone pattern that behind it is almost this very faint like grid on a like diagonal. So I have 3 of these as well. Now this was one from the very beginning I had loved, and I bought this. This was the Twas the Night Before Christmas, and the back of it is just, now this one's just a polka dot, and it's in that same, like, it's like a brick red color. So this one I have a lot of, and I thought, like I said, with these having little postage stamps in it, I thought they went, but, you know, like I said, I think I can mix and match it. Now this one I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 pages of this. And then this one I was starting to try to do some stuff with. I really liked the back of this with the holly. This is from the Twas the Night Before Christmas collection as well. And I was in a holly kind of project at the time, so I was trying to work on something, and you can kind of see how like I cut this paper pack apart. I don't like to do the square cards because I use these as giveaways, and if you're not aware, square cards are additional postage. So I'm probably gonna have to see if I can pull this. I probably can. It doesn't look like it's glued down that heavily. It looked like the back was different. So basically one whole pack, and then the back of this comes to this great plaid. I really do like that. Let's see, now this is 2014, so this tells you how old this is. Old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the one that's cut. So I have 10 sheets of this. So if you didn't catch it, I was down dropping my son off to college in Tampa, and I hit a couple stores down that way. And when I went in to the one store, she had the brand new collection from Graphic 45 for this year right up front. And I realized that, you know, she had a bunch of different Graphic 45 stuff. So some of the stuff she had mixed in was this Christmas time collection, and she had these cut aparts, and I thought these were going to be great. I can either see if I can mix them in with these ones, but if you take notice, this is a way different green. This is like a more like forest green. I wouldn't say it's bright green, but it's not really dark like a hunter green either, but they're definitely different greens. So I'm gonna have to kind of play around with how I put these down. I don't want to put them down on something that's really that other green, but I think I can work with these. The other one I got was like Cozy and Warm or something. I forget what the collection is, but it has a lot of black in it and this like yellowy brown that they kind of comes across as a gold. So I definitely know I can fit these in with the other paper pack, but those has ephemera I bought for it and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and work with these in there. And then she did have in her like clearance section these ones, and this was like cardstock die cuts, it's called, and this was from her Christmas Magic collection. So I thought this may be good. Some of this stuff is really, I don't even know what. I guess it's good for like scrapbooking because it's got these like pockets on here that I guess you would put in your pages or something, or junk journaling. Doesn't really give an idea. Again, this one's 2018, but I thought I could use like some of this stuff like maybe for the sentiments. Some of them are cute, but again, this was like really cheap. I think I paid like $2 or something for it, so $2.50 because it was half off the $5. So we'll see. That's what I have to work with. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to start pulling in my own die cutting, and I do have in my like scrapbook section a sheet of stickers that I had left over from something. I don't know that they're gonna be like in this same like genre of animation or graphics, so I don't know that I'll be able to pull that in, but we'll see. So let me get something going here and I will be back. I think I went and I got some good sketches to start with, because I'm thinking that I'm going to start with just this paper, which was the holly on the one side and the plaid on the other. And I pulled this old, I had this, and this was before I learned the whole like lesson that I just did with taking Tim Holtz stamps, not just off the backboard, but you know, completely threw it out. So I have this old stamp set that was called Stylized Woodlands, and I was drawn to the deer in this paper pack. I have never had this with something I saw that one of his makers did, and honestly, I gave up on the card. I couldn't figure it out. But I have liked this wreath in here, and I have liked him. So I think I'm gonna focus on this stamp set and this paper. And I pulled out 4 different sketches. And I'm thinking having 10 different sheets, you know, maybe I can do like 2 sheets per sketch, or you know, something, because I'm just trying to do that many cards with this paper is going to really just like bore me to tears. So I want to do at least maybe 2 of these. So I'm thinking, you know, like this may be good, and I could do the sentiment here, put the deer, or do the deer with some kind of a sentiment, and then like one of them stamps here. So that's my first thought, is I want to try that, and then I'll move into these others. I also think I can definitely pull in, I have tons of holly. I do have a nice size holly front panel that I'm thinking I may bring into this too. So we'll see. So let's start with this one, and then we'll be back once I have a card sketch done. Just sitting here putting this card together, and I had some thoughts that I would share while I'm doing the process of this. And some of it has to do with organization in the craft room, but some of it was like this, was I stamped out my deer using the Tim Holtz stamp platform I have. And I was trying to make a decision, like I had the deer, and I'm going to put it on, I'm going to cut it, fussy cut it out. And it was like, well, do I want the oxide or do I want the distress? And it's like, when I had a really tough time because he puts distress on everything. So to me, it's like, where is all the differences? And he has a great video explaining, but basically oxide sits on top of the paper. It doesn't really soak in as much. And he uses the word opaque, which means very hard to see through, is what opaque is. The vintage photo is a dye ink, and it's transparent, which means it really soaks into the paper, and it's very easy to like see through it. So to me, I would think this would be the lighter one. I did have to stamp this up several times. Again, I only have a mini versus the regular size, but you know, I don't know how much. Maybe this needs to be re-inked. I don't know. This was easier for me, and I find that oxide ink is very easy to clean up, but it does have that little bit more of a chalky effect. I'm going to try and make this card, when I do these, to be very like that old Christmassy woodland farmhousey kind of, you know, burlappy and that kind of stuff. So I went with, my choice is going to be the craft paper. And I have pretty much in my mind made a commitment that I want to be using paper tray ink cardstock. And I'll do a video on the economics of it, but also the flexibility of their stuff and things like that. But I do have a lot of Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and I've pulled in for this paper pack the Poppy Parade and the Wild Wasabi colors, because I felt this green and this red, orangey red, was really good for this. And I did find that I think if I were to use paper tray ink, this was going to be New Leaf, and this was going to be, I think the Terracotta Tile would have been a really good one. I don't know, I forget if I had a red. I know there was a cherry red from Hobby Lobby that I looked at, would have been good too. But like I said, I made the decision to use this because I'm trying to get myself from having a slew of different manufacturers with a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different papers. I find that the best way to get, you know, streamlined is going to be sticking with one brand, pulling in a few maybe here and there of other brands where I have gaps in my selection that I find I need. In saying that as well, I'm sitting here and I'm looking that, you know, I do need to, this was, you know, when you cut I did the 4-inch strip, at the bottom of it, you would get this small leftover, and this was what I was going to use, but stupid me did it with the wrong thing, and the words are going this way, not this way. So I did cut the remaining paper and got these. This was at the end, and I cut it in half. So now I have to pay attention better when I do that. So this was the card sketch calls for a 2-inch by 4-inch here. I was going to, you know, fussy cut this out to put here, and then I think I'm going to do the circle that was called for over here and make that the sentiment. So I'm thinking that even though this is that look of woodland and kind of old-timey kind of thing, I still think I can bring in a little bit of bling, and I want a layer that's behind here. And I was going to do a green, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go through, and I have a lot of this in my collection. It was sold by Recollections. I don't know if they're still making it, but another thing I'm facing is that I thought it was, you know, great because I was doing this wreath thing for Christmas, and I wanted different textures and colors of ivories and golds, and I may still need to do that at some point. But having these single sheets like this is bulky, and it's just more in the way when you're trying to, you know, make decisions on what you're going to do and use. And these are great if you have the project in mind and you buy it for that. I'm learning that the less choices you have sometimes, the better it's going to be. You know, this would look just as nice with a regular foil. I'm going to use this up just to, again, to use it up. So I'm going to cut these in probably 1/2-inch strips and just line them on the backs of these. I'll do the fussy cutting and I'll come back, but I wanted to share my thoughts with you, like I said, as to what I was observing while I was doing this. And maybe you'll understand what I'm talking about, or maybe you have a different point of view, and I'd love to hear it, because craft room organization is such a topic. There's so much to learn. So many tricks and hacks. And so anyway, I'll be back. I'm back with an update. So this is where I am so far with this card, and it needs something else. I don't know what. I used a sentiment that was in the pack. I had originally a green background, and I changed it over to the same to match that. This is the Impression Obsession Primitive Candy Cane. I just used that on another card not that long ago. I felt the size was right. I think it needed something a little bit more delicate than country, but it's okay. This is something I bought, maybe Hobby Lobby. It's kind of like a white rope with this red metallic thread around it, and I've somehow wound up with 2 of these. I'd really like to use this up, and I thought it added a little bit of elegance to tie in with the foil I put, and obviously it would be great to get rid of it. But this needs something else, and I haven't decided. It may just be some, not sequins, but maybe like gems or something. We'll see. I haven't quite figured that out. So I've decided I'm putting that aside and just letting it kind of sit there until I get inspiration to do the next step. I'm thinking is maybe this is too bright. Like maybe I needed to do some sponging around the edge or something. We'll see. So I moved on to this page, and this, when I first saw this paper right away, this die came to me. This is called the Cuttlebug Holly Whisper, and I will tell you, I bought this years ago. I remember seeing a card I liked, and it was like not easy to find then. So if I can find anybody that has it, I will definitely put a link below. There is a little bit of some kind of finessing you got to do, especially with this one that's like this big swirl here. But the others I found like kind of didn't take too much. The foil came out actually much better than this. It does have these areas that I thought are nice if you want to do embossing. The one that I did before had a lot of, I think I did a music note paper behind it, and I did a lot of inking on this page. I did the berries as like big rhinestones that were red, and I'm thinking I may do that again, because I don't know about you, I always get stuck with these like huge oversized rhinestones that it's like, I don't know what I want to do with them. So they do work for this really well. And I do know I need this bumped up a couple of times, so I was thinking is maybe doing this, I don't know, I was thinking like maybe like piecing in a couple of leaves, but just leaving the stems gold. I'm not sure. Or like just slightly offsetting so this like green comes in the background as like that shadow. Thinking that may work nice. I want to, like I said, do the rhinestones in red on top. So I'm fooling around with this. I know I'm going to do a layer of green behind this. And like I said, the red I'm going to pull in with the gems, because there is like one here, a clump of 3, another clump of 3, a clump of 2. And I think I threw 1 or 2 in of my own, like maybe in here, that was off of the die. But the die calls for 3 here, 3 here, 2 here, and 1 there. And like I said, that is a lot of brilliance on these cards. So this is one of the ones too, is like I think I kind of cut this when I put this down on the page. I think I cut it like in half and did like half and half or something, because I know I didn't do a big card. I would have to dig up. I bet you I still have books with that in there, and it had a Tim Holtz die along the bottom. So I'm going to keep playing around with this. This is where I'm at so far, and then I'll be back and have this one together, and maybe I'll, like I said, see what I can get done with that one, because I do think that one Maybe it needs to, maybe I need to pull the gold in a little bit more. Maybe some like gold gems on it would look good. We'll see. So I'll be back. So I'm back. I have just stuck some of these small little gems from Hobby Lobby on her, and I just think that was just enough to finish this card off, because like I said, I think it needed something for this gold to get pulled in. So I think that's going to be how I'm going to leave that card. And then this is a 5x7 I made for this paper. This was the one that I had already had cut in the 6-inch, and I was doing it like 6x6. So I decided to now make it, this panel in the back is 4x6. So I can still try and get like an even number of these panels out of my printed paper. And then I decided to go with the gold in the back peeking around the, this is like, I think it's called Basil. It's a cardstock I got off of Amazon in a pretty nice size pack, like maybe 50 sheets, 100 sheets, something like that. I'll try to link it down below. And it's a very nice Christmas green. And this here is called Red Satin. It's a shimmer paper that I get from the Paper Papers company. And I had some strips left, and I decided to pull them out. And I'm going to use them up. And it's nice to just put a little bit of accent in the back. And I was trying to, stretch out the foil paper, but I did put one behind here because I think it needed it. So when I do my next one, I'm going to cut my back panel, but then I should be able to die cut this piece out of it so I can really kind of stretch it. I did the bigger gems. I was going to do like the pearls where you color them with your alcohol markers, but I said, you know what? I think it needed that little bit of bling. So I did go with the rhinestones on that. And then I did, for sentiment, this is another older Tim Holtz stamp that I had. And again, I did cut this in half so I could fit it in here, never thinking or knowing about, how they store stuff. So this is called Simple Sayings, and it has all these different sayings throughout the year. And it has this one stamp that is the frame for it. It's easy enough to cut out. I did mine gold embossed with this Ranger gold. It just says gold. It's a nice kind of like worn or distressed frame. The only thing that is a little unnerving maybe is that you have to do the frame first. I've got glitter stuck in here. You have to do the frame first and then do your sentiment, because you can't see through this. So, get it to do this one first. So for me, I gotta have a good hand, because you're fussy cutting them to make sure you got that. So if you want to do these with your stamping tool, your Misty or your stamping platforms, I would recommend that you try to, keep a paper size. Maybe like I did this on a scrap, and if you just, had them spaced correctly, maybe that you can get it on there. I don't know, like I said, it's a little, that's the only thing that's kind of a hang up with it. But I did really like this. I've used this a couple times throughout the years that I've had this stamp set. And like I said, there's something there pretty much for every occasion you could have in your life. So, I think it was a good investment. Although I've only used the Christmas ones, but still, it's there if I need it. So these are the two that I've come up with. I think I'm going to just blow out this paper now using the one style of paper, and I'll be back and I'll let you know how many I can finally finish up with this, because I could do some stretching and we'll see how this is going to come out. So I'll be back to wrap up. Welcome back. I'm trying to finish these cards up, and I'll admit I'm at that point of quite ready to blow my brains out. I pretty much finished the first card. I'm on these 5x7 ones now. The I don't know if I showed that finished or not. I don't know why. I thought I was going to just do like 2 sheets for each design, and yeah, that didn't work. So for some reason I just went and cut all the sheets up, and got a few scraps here that, you know, I'll put in a pile and we'll see what we're left with after I finish the whole pack up. So I cut the green on this one in a 5x7, and then used the scraps I have from this red satin, and I had these done, and I had some like strips that were like they were like this long, and then I had this little section, so it was nice because I could trim these down to, I think they're 2.5 inches in length, and I just pieced them on to not have to use a full strip in the background. And I decided I was, you know, I should come on because, as you can see, I used the green piece that's the background to get, let me get the card back again. So you're only seeing a little bit over here of the red, so that's why I know I could piece them in. And there's a green layer and a gold foil layer. So I cut the green, I have them sitting over here. So I cut the green out. Oh, they're all intertwined. See, I have a whole mess of them. I cut these green out of the layer so I didn't have to waste paper. And I did the same with the gold. And the gold is, I think 4x6. No, it's like 6.25 by like 4.25 is I think what I went 1/4 inch bigger on those. And you'll see when I turn this over to glue it in a second that I also cut the gold out of these, and I really had to make sure I pieced the die in there like just so that you wouldn't see it on the front that it was cut out. Like I literally like had no room for error, so I used some washi tape to do that. And then you'll see as I'm doing this, I'm just gluing these down. I have to make sure that I have the writing correctly. And basically between the glue that's coming up through the green and then the glue that's coming through the foil, these are sticking down very well. I just make sure that, you know, I rub all over. And I'm finding like it's not a problem as far as like there being a dip in the paper, because, you know, like they're like one over top of each other. I'm finding that they're really not, there's not an issue with it. So to production line this, hang this back up. I did all my card bases. I have them all cut and scored over here. I just kind of put them in 10s to give me a idea, like, you know, if I need a break. I try to take them in breaks of like 5 or 10. So this is like 5 here, and then I do 5 in this direction. Then I'm gonna do, you know, like my next 5. I think I have 29 of these total. I went through and I glued all these down, so I have them ready to go. I will need to touch up some of my foil, so, you know, I'll do that at the very end. So I'm gonna go through and put down all my different layers. And then what I'm thinking is, when I did, hang it back up again, my sample, I had done the green on top of the gold, and I did it like off the card, and I just kind of like sat over here and I just glued it, and then I took this and glued it on the card. I think for the best way for me to do this is, I think I'm going to do where I put the gold down first and glue it, and then put the green on top of it right on the card, because see, this is gonna bother me. I have a little bit of glue over there, and I told you I was gonna wait to the end and clean them all up, but yeah, I gotta do it now. So I think I'm gonna do them in layers like that, and then the sentiment, like I said, was heat embossed with the gold, and then I used Barn Red Oxide Ink. I'll go through a wrap up at the end. So I'm gonna go through, do all of these bases done. Then I'm gonna go through and do all the holly leaves and get them all done. Then I'll go through and I'll do all my heat embossing. Then I'll go back and do all of my stamping. And then the last thing I'll do is the cleanup on the foil, and I'll put these large rhinestones down, which I thought I had them over here. I think I just got them at Hobby Lobby. They were just like these big red ones that are left over from when you buy those packs. There's always ones that seems like they're left over. So this is a good project to do that for. So when I come back, I'll do one last wrap up so that you can see the finished cards, and then I'll be done. I'm gonna be quick with a wrap up on this. I thought I did it already, and guess I did not. I wound up getting 30 of this card. I still haven't cleaned up my foil, but I was gonna do my rhinestones, and I started with a zig marker, and I wound up having to throw them out because it never dried. I didn't realize that zigs were not a permanent marker, so I had to get a Sharpie out, and yeah. So now I'm gonna have to finish these up, and then that'll be that for these. And then I got 29 of these. Notice how they finished up with the gems. I don't know if I had shown a close-up of those. I found that the oxide inks seem to have gotten lighter in color, because I guess because they're oxide, I don't know. I still like them because, like I said, I was kind of going for that wintry woodland, like kind of aged. It's like this paper has a little bit of distressing in it, so that's fine. I don't know if you can see that little bit of a texture that was in that gold foil. I was at Michael's tonight, and I was looking to see if they had any more of these like specialty foils when I was there, and they really did not. They had the regular foil, they had some shimmers, and they had some like glitters, but they really didn't have, like I said, they had a bunch in the past where they had different like textures embossed into the foil, and you know, kind of like a brushed foil and stuff. They didn't have any of that this time, so that answers that question. But I will put a link below for what I can find of these items. And I don't think there was anything else really to say on this one. I think we're done. So 30 and 29. So I am kind of done with this. I will continue with more of this paper in a separate video. I'll consider this as a part 1. And when I continue, I'll add on to it with a part 2 or something like that in the title. I just need a break after this because this was a lot between different things happening personally and just how long it was taking to die cut and do all this stuff. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. So I'm hoping you got some inspiration. Would appreciate a thumbs up if you found something in here that you could, you know, possibly inspire you to do something of your own, or want to seek these products out. I will try to put the links down below. If not, I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye.